You are now tuned in to Go Time Dolphins with Charlie Touche and Kadeem Simmons, the Miami Dolphins podcast that's for the fans and by the fans.
Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's show time. Going all out when it's go time. I ain't wasting no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's show time. Cause it's your time. Lay it on the line when it's go time. Don't waste no time.
If you watched our last episode, you would have heard me say at the end that I am doing a draft hack giveaway. So make sure you stay around to the end to hear how to win that. But obviously, we are back with another episode. We are joined by a guest. We'll introduce that guest later. If you are looking at the title, then you already know who it is. So before we talk about draft and, players here and players there, what the Dolphins should do, it's always customary to greet the host of the episode, Mr. Charlie Touche. How are you?
It's Go Time Dolphins, the Miami Dolphins podcast that goes not only across the pond, but across the world. I'm your boy, Charlie Touche. Got my co-host, Kadeem Simmons, with me. It's always for the fans and by the fans. Your favorite podcast. And, I know some people might hear this, and this is like one of my favorite affiliates, GTD affiliates. But they're all my favorite GTD affiliates. But we're just going to bring them in. We're going to talk draft. We're going to talk football. It's always a good episode when we have this dude on. Charlie Wilson of the CNC Machine. What's up, Charlie? How you doing, bro?
Hey, I'm all good. It's always a good time to be talking to you guys. And my favorite time of the year of NFL draft and to do with my two favorite people, my favorite podcast. Let's go.
I'm not going to lie to you. I'm just going to get it out the way now because I'm not going to be able to hold it in for an hour. But I hope you watch UFC 300.
Of course I watch UFC 300. Are you crazy?
Bro, hey.
Charlie. Ooh, Max Holloway.
Bro, legendary. And we'll save it for bonus time. But there's no way I could have just sat here and not said nothing. But yeah, man, anybody who listens to Go Time Dolphins know me and Charlie are still talking about starting an MMA podcast, and that has to happen, man. But Kadeem, what you got for us today?
So before Charlie's here. Charlie knows about the NFL, and we spoke about it off air. We probably won't get a chance to speak about it given we are in full draft mode. But some very quick Dolphins news. Chris Grier spoke yesterday and said that the Dolphins are exercising the fifth-year options for Jalen Phillips and Jalen Waddle, and that they're planning for a long-term contract extension for friend of the podcast, Jevon Holland. Charlie Touche, before we get to Charlie Wilson, I assume you expect that to happen, and what do you make of that news?
Yeah, I think you mentioned you wanted Waddle to get paid earlier just to avoid some things later. And I was like, man, he hasn't been the best version of the best Waddle that we've seen lately. But I'm not getting on him like Dolphins Twitter was getting on him, like, oh, we got to trade him. Like, y'all crazy. We got 2 number 1 receivers on our team, and let's act like it. So he has a lot of drops. Waddle has a lot of drops. He took a step back in production this year. He was injured. And I'm like, why pay him now like a top 5 receiver when if he has another year like that, then he's not going to get top 5 receiver money. But if he performs, that means we're doing well as a team, and then we'll pay him accordingly. So I'm okay with that. You get what you what's that saying? You eat what you kill. You feel me? So you eat on the field, Waddle, then we'll pay you accordingly. And I'm okay with that. Jalen Phillips, no surprise at all.
Yeah, not at all. Charlie Wilson, what do you make of the Dolphins' plans to essentially, extend 3 of their cornerstone pieces?
Yeah, I see Charlie Touche's point about Waddle and maybe waiting to pay him. If he performs, he deserves that money, right? My only thing is his contract's not going to get cheaper. Even if he underperforms this year, I think he'll at least ask for what Smith got, Devontae Smith, who got $25 million a year yesterday. I guess my question to you guys is, me being the host for a second, would you feel comfortable paying him $25 million a year right now? or would you risk him having a great year and then paying him $30 million next year?
I ain't gonna lie. So I think when you just said 25 million, I'm like, I kind of like that number. Because
Me too.
I'm comfortable because he's a one. He is a one receiver. So if you're paying another one receiver in the league, you got Tyreek Hill, you have Justin Jeffersons, you have Jamar Chases. They're going to be in the 30s. To get a one receiver for 25, I like that. So I do like paying Waddle 25. But I think because he's opposite of Tyreek Hill and possibly another receiver coming to Miami this year or a third pass catcher, his numbers might not reflect that of a one receiver. And then you still may be able to bargain like, hey, you haven't had one receiver production since you were the one receiver. You see what I'm saying? So, and again, we see what the drops do, see what the injuries do, and maybe it's 25 in 2 years. You know what I'm saying? So, what do you think, Kadeem?
I think we discussed this before, Charlie. I'm still the same mind. If you can get him cheaper now, then get him cheaper now and worry about paying him more down the line. Like, obviously, I don't want to get into a situation we had with Xavier Howard where you paid him and then every single year he's demanding more money. I don't think Jalen Waddle would do this, or would do that, sorry. But yeah, I'd rather pay him now. And if he goes off this year and next year and says, hey, my contract doesn't reflect my production, then you say, hey, well, we can talk again. But yeah, if you can get him cheap now, get him cheap now. And again, we say get him cheap. It's not going to be, 10, 15, like 25 for Jalen Waddle right now, I think is a decent number. And yeah, when Hill goes and you have a bit more money to play with, then cool, bump it up. Doesn't really bother me too much.
I'll be honest, maybe he doesn't take 25 right now. He's like, yo, Devontae Smith just took 25. That means I'm in the 29 range. So then it's not going to matter whether we pay him now or later because he knows his value. Because in my opinion, Waddle is more valuable than Devontae Smith at 25. So why would he take 25? Like, what if he says, "Nah, I'm not interested in 25"? So yeah, we're still back to maybe we just wait it out. And it is what it is. You got to pay people. You gotta have to pay somebody, or you have to get younger every draft or every 4 years.
Yeah, it's difficult, but I'm not surprised. I'm not happy because we knew this news was coming. Chris Grier came out and said it's like, cool, fair enough. Chris Grier, I'll say this because some people needed to hear it, even though it shouldn't have been a thing. Chris Grier also said that the Dolphins aren't taking a quarterback at pick 21. Like, why is that a question asked at the press conference? Who seriously thought that? And like, what are we doing here? But he said that. He also said that the Dolphins don't have first round grades on about 15 to 20 players, and that they're going to go best player available at pick 21. Charlie Wilson, we'll get to your big board shortly, but again, what do you make of those comments? Best player available at pick 21.
Yeah, I'm always best player available, especially in round one. You need to give, especially when you're a Super Bowl winning team, you need to find the best players that you can. Superstar players make such a big difference. Depth players do not. It's as simple as that. And in the first round as well, they're getting big contracts now, these first round rookies. You need to get the best talent you can get. Having said that, Miami have a huge need at one position, interior offensive line, and I think that is a good spot to draft two guys in particular. So it's a tough question. It's hypothetical, so we don't know who's going to be on the board at 21. But yeah, drafting best player available is always, should I say, the right thing to do.
Mr. Touche, what do you make of Chris Grier's comments?
Duh. You know what I'm saying? like, come on now. Like, I'm not. If I was Chris Grier, I would have just said. I probably would have said that right there. Like, come on now. This is foolishness. Next question. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's stupidity. But I got a question for Charlie though. And for those who don't know, Charlie Wilson is a Seattle Seahawks fan. Who is the Seattle Seahawks quarterback right now, Charlie?
That would be Geno Smith.
How you feel about the team right now as they are right now? Obviously, with their receivers. They got Jackson Smith and Jigba over there, DK, Lockett, pretty good looking team over there. Trying not to make this go time Seahawks, but I'm going somewhere with this. How you feel about your team right now?
Yeah, so you mentioned wide receivers, Charlie. Last year, me and you were both very, very high on JSN, Smith and Jigba. And he was very much handicapped last year in a poor offensive system. The back coach has now been fired. He's a very, very good receiver. DK Metcalf is frustrating, but very good. Lockett is extremely underrated. Geno Smith, middle of the road guy, solid, not great. Probably won't take us to a Super Bowl. We're a rebuilding team. I now like our trajectory for the first time in 7 years. I'm now in a confident place where I'm excited about the Seahawks. So to answer your question, excited, happy with the pieces, work to do.
So the reason why I asked is because of this. Tua gets frustrated and says, you know what? I'm done with the fan base in Miami. I don't want to do this anymore. I want out. Tua says he wants out, becomes available for the Seahawks. Seahawks trade, let's just say a first, but they got to pay him $50 million because his contract is up. Are you taking Tua for $50 million? No. All right. So now I just wanted perspective. Like you went from Geno Smith. What Geno make? Like 40 something, and then he made 60
Geno's on
last year?
about 28 this year, maybe 35 at a max level.
He made like 60 last year, didn't he? Like he signed and then he got like 40.
No, Geno. So he signed a 3-year, $95 million deal. But the last year is basically a void year. So most of the money's in the last year, which he probably won't make. So it's around $30 million a year.
All right. So the reason why I asked is because I'm not home in South Florida right now, and I am in a region of the country where there's different teams out here. There's the Vikings, there's the Packers, there's the Chiefs, there's the Broncos. So, and everyone says they're taking Tua. And they actually like it'll be a jolting response to like, of course I'll take Tua. So now I was just trying to see where you were at and how you felt about the Dolphins saying, yo, we're not taking a quarterback in the first round. But I appreciate your opinion. What we got, Kadeem?
Best player available, Charlie Wilson. Do you want to just get into your big board? Because obviously, like I said, the Dolphins have around 20 players on their big board or with a first round grade, which kind of makes sense. If we're happy to jump into your big board, Charlie Touche, that okay?
Man, it's always this the CNC machine, bro. This is Charlie and Charlie, bro.
Let's go.
Okay, so
I guess right off the bat, Kadeem, can I just say this real quick? You guys did a mock draft yesterday. I tuned in, and you took my best offensive lineman in the class at 27. So, I mean, that would be a good pick if that happened. I'll tell you that,
bro. Hey, so you approve of our draft?
I very much do. Troy Fautanu is my number one offensive lineman in the class. I think that will probably be deemed as a hot take. I don't think it is personally. His film is outstanding. I think he's going to be Penei Sewell 2.0. He is extremely, extremely strong, quick, huge. I mean, the thing with Fautanu, he's 6'4", so people thought he'd be a guard, but he has 34-inch arms. That guy's a tackle, and he's faultless to me. He's such a prospect. I have him above Joe Alt.
So as you say, you have him above Joe Alt. Joe Alt is the consensus best tackle in the draft, and you have Joe Alt third overall on your big board here as we look at it on YouTube. If you're an audio listener, we have the entire big board pulled up. It is a piece of work, and this is why we like to have the consistently consistent Charlie Wilson on the podcast. Checks all the boxes. So yeah, when you take Fautanu and late in the draft, Lamont like we did, and then come around and take a interior offensive lineman in the second round, and then trade to get a second round pick next season, I thought that was pretty dope. But let's get back to this big board, bro. That's a pretty big take to say, yo, Joe Alt is not better than Fautanu. And last year, I think I'm on the record saying CJ Stroud would be better than Bryce Young. How long is the jury out on rookies? Like, how long do you give them until you say, you know what, we got it wrong, right? Like, so maybe Joe Alt does underperform, and Troy is better than Joe Alt. How long do you say, well, we got to give him some more time?
It's tough, Charlie. I think most of it, like Bryce Young, is about situation. I'm not that confident that CJ Stroud wouldn't also struggle really badly in Carolina, because that situation was a mess. They had no real receiver, no offensive line, a poor system. I think it's all about, like I say, it's all about that system. And we've seen loads of players, right, who are drafted in one team, are terrible, will move on to our next team, and they're in our system and they flourish. So it's hard to put a timeline on when do you give up on a player or when do you sour on a player. As a fan, of course you sour on a player after 2-3 years. When you draft him a first round, you want immediate hits. But after 2-3 years, especially at tackle, Charlie, I think the third year is when you see guys come into their own. We've seen guys like Andrew Thomas at the Giants, who was terrible his first 2 years, and now he's fantastic. My Seahawks have a guy, Charles Cross, who had been okay first 2 years. This year, you want to see a jump, or else he probably gets traded, or we look elsewhere. So I think by the third year, for tackle especially, is the year you need to see that jump. And if not, you're getting worried.
So you said 2-3 years. If you're a Dolphin fan, it's probably like 2-3 games. Like they don't have they want instant gratification here in South Florida. And you invoke the name Cross, and that's the tackle that the Seahawks selected in the first round. Doubled down and picked up Abraham Lucas, 2 shades 24 Abraham Lucas, that went to Washington University, and the same university that Troy Fautanu goes to now, and replace Abraham Lucas. So it goes full circle.
Yeah, well, actually, Abraham Lucas was at Washington State.
Washington.
Yeah.
No. He was at Washington.
Nah, Washington State.
Nah, bro. He was at Washington.
I promise you, he was at Washington State.
He's a Husky.
No, he's not.
Abraham Lucas isn't a Husky?
No.
Let's look it up. We gotta go. We gotta look it up.
He went to Washington State.
I'm sorry. We got a stack check, bro. Sorry. Kadeem, let's do it.
So just so we are all clear, Abraham Lucas, who plays at the Seattle Seahawks, correct?
Yeah.
Yep. So he went to Washington State.
Dang. I was wrong, bro. Hold up. Are they the Huskies?
No, that's Washington, University of Washington.
Dang. But I did have him on my 2 shades 24. I did put him on my 2 shades 24. I thought he went to Washington, though. I don't know why I thought he went to Washington.
Charlie, that was the first year I came on your podcast. I mean, you were both really high on Abraham Lucas. So,
yeah. I don't like being wrong often, bro. I don't like that.
It's good, man.
It's all
no,
we good.
He's wrong more often than he likes to admit, so it's fine. Is what it is.
What?
Dude, you talk to me and I'm always right, so.
Okay.
Sorry, Charlie. I had to pull that up on you. I'm sorry, mate.
Yeah, bro. I'll take it.
Charlie Wilson, we discussed off air this notion that the Dolphins, or we'll stick with the Dolphins. The Dolphins shouldn't select an interior offensive lineman at pick 21. They should move back and pick one, even if it's moving back 4 to 5 spaces. What do you make of that notion? And essentially, Jackson Powers-Johnson was that consensus pick. Everyone wants that pick 21. Now there's speculation, draft talk that he might fall at the first round entirely, and it seems to kind of see him as a second round prospect. What do you make of everything I just said?
First off, Jackson Powers-Johnson, he looks like SpongeBob SquarePants. His body is so square. He's so big that he takes up the whole, both A gaps. It's hilarious. But he's a fantastic. He's going to be a fantastic interior lineman, Kadeem. To answer your question, you can't draft someone at 21 on the interior offensive line. Why? It's an important position, especially for Miami. We've seen the Chiefs draft Creed Humphrey, Trey Smith, and it's transformed their offensive line. Like, it is such an important position. And if you find a guy who's just really good, like JPJ, like Graham Barton, you take him. And if, let's say, Miami, trades from 21 to 28, and Barton and Powers Johnson, it's quite likely they're both going to be gone. Then you draft Cooper Bebe is my next one, who's he's good. I like Bebe. Not a first round pick. It's a drop between Barton and the next round. So if you need a lineman interior like Miami do, you just got to take him, and you can't worry about perception or value, because it's a position you must need to fill, and they're good players. It's worth it, in my opinion.
Touche, anything to add?
Yeah, man. And not to go back on how me and you kill the mock drafts every year, we do pretty good at it. But if you can add a 3rd round pick for moving back 7 spots, Zach Frazier will be there waiting for you. If you missed out on Jackson Powers Johnson, there's the gap between Jackson Powers Johnson and Zach Frazier is not that big. Zach Frazier is 6'3", 310. Maybe you want him to be a little bit taller. You know what I'm saying? But listen, I will gladly take a tackle in the 1st round, trade it back to get a tackle in the 1st round, and then whatever interior offensive lineman fell to me in the 2nd, I would do it with a smile on my face, knowing that we acquired a 3rd. And we don't have to acquire this 3rd. We could sit still and just take O-line, in my opinion, 1st round, 2nd round, and still get the same effect. So I'm okay. I think there's going to be options for Miami at 21 to move back if they want it.
Fair play. It's like, again, myself and Charlie Wilson were speaking. It's when you trade back to any round, you have no idea who's going to be there. And for me, it's a case of trading back to the 3rd or 4th round and potentially missing out on what people are saying is a can't miss prospect. I don't quite see the point. I understand that, and again, I've said before, I understand that you want to give yourself as many bites of the apple as possible. But for a 3rd round pick who is going to be, and the Dolphins need depth, I'm not denying that, but I'd rather stay at 21 and use one of the 3rd round picks we've got next year to jump back in, as opposed to move back 27, miss out on someone. Like, I don't see if it's quite worth it or not. But that's just my opinion on that situation, I guess. Okay, cool. Also, Mr. Wilson, best player available, 21. How good is Cooper DeJean?
Oh. Yeah, I mean, listen. So I've done a mock draft for the Daily Mirror, who I work for, and I have selected Cooper DeJean for Miami at 21. I'm sorry. I know you need an offensive line on the interior. I know you want to trade back Charlie Touche, but Cooper DeJean would be so fun on the Dolphins. Like, he's like, you'll hate me for saying this, he's like the defensive Tyreek Hill. He's so fast. He's so fun to watch. He's lightning quick. He's such an athlete. He can play corner. He can play safety. He can play nickel. He can play linebacker at a pinch. He's just a fun player. And my image of Miami in my head is just having fun players and like mixing it up and all this misdirection and design. Cooper DeJean is the perfect guy for misdirection and disguising where he'll line up. He can blitz. He's so good in zone coverage, so good in man, a kick returner. I just love that fit of DeJean on Miami, and I love to hear what you two would think about that.
So what school did Cooper DeJean go to, Charlie Wilson?
The Iowa Hawkeyes.
All right, very good, Junior Grasshopper. I was just trying to get my one back. I'm really trying to get it back.
Hey, man. Charlie, I apologize, brother.
No, that's cool. I was trying to get it back. So for those who don't know who Cooper DeJean is, Cooper DeJean is probably going to be the first white cornerback taken in the 1st round in like the past 40 years. Probably. You know, like, and I just had to put a number on it. I don't know if that number is accurate.
I think ever, Charlie.
So what?
I think the first, like, ever.
He said, I mean, once upon a time, people that look like me couldn't play in the NFL. I think so. Probably, you know what I'm saying? So I was just saying.
That's probably
So,
true.
So my thing is, I think and we got this thing on this podcast where we call it pigmentation deficit. You know what I'm saying? Like people can't see past a person's skin color. Like it's crazy. Like you don't see the white running backs in the league. You don't see the white corners and stuff like that. They're always relegated to something else. And everybody and their mom is trying to move Cooper from corner to safety because of it, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? Now, I cannot wait to see him in the NFL. But he's gonna be a piece of work. He's a what Kadeem doesn't like to say, a can't miss prospect.
The reason I mentioned him, Charlie, and I should have taken a big ball down and up, my mind. The reason I mentioned Charlie Wilson is because you came on this podcast last year and you pounded the table and spoke really highly of a particular player. Who was that player last year?
Man, I'm being put on the spot right now. Let me think about this. So you would have needed offensive line. So I'm guessing offensive line, right?
It wasn't for the Dolphins. You just spoke about like your.
Oh, okay. Sorry, you're talking about Kyle Hamilton.
I am talking about Kyle Hamilton, and I've seen.
Look at this guy crossing all the T's, dotting all the I's.
I've seen people compare Cooper DeJean to Kyle Hamilton. Where did Kyle Hamilton go last year?
Kyle Hamilton was in the 2022 draft, and he went 14th overall.
Damn, he's killing me at the moment. Wow. Listen, we can't have Charlie Wilson in the back here anytime soon. He's just killing both of us right now. But yeah.
I like it.
Hey, like I say, my favorite podcast, I gotta come prepared from my guys.
I like it.
What team drafted Hamilton?
Baltimore Ravens. He wears number 14, drafted 14th overall.
This guy.
And
he went to Notre Dame, right? He went to Notre Dame?
No, Notre Dame, yeah.
And final question.
Is he like 6'3", 260? Like, I was just saying, I'm just playing. Like, you were hitting everything else on the money, so I had to throw something out there.
Yeah, his mother's name is Tracy. Yeah,
you feel me? Yeah. 2 siblings. You know what I'm saying? One in college. He didn't start driving until he was 16. You know what I'm saying? Mess around with Charlie Wilson, boy. Y'all better come right.
Yes, sir. No. The new DC of the Miami Dolphins was in Baltimore last year.
Yeah.
Saw what Kyle Hamilton can do close and personal. Can you imagine a situation where he turns around and says, listen, guys, I know you need interior defensive line or offensive line in general. I am telling you now, you give me Cooper DeJean and I will transform this defense when you essentially have a backfield of friend of the podcast, Jevon Holland, Jalen Ramsey, Kendall Fuller, Cam Smith, Cooper DeJean, like guys who can just play anywhere. Kader Kohou. Would you bang the table for the Miami Dolphins to draft Cooper DeJean in the first round?
I would, and I can sort of like give you some background information a little bit. So I know for a fact that the Seahawks really wanted Anthony Weaver as defensive coordinator, so much so that they offered him the position, and he chose it. He chose to go to Miami. Anthony Weaver is obviously worked under Mike McDonald, who coached at the Ravens, and those two are very close. And it seems that Weaver is very much in a line with McDonald in his philosophy. And that is all about misdirection, schemed, simulated pressure. We don't know where the pressure is coming from. You think this guy's blitzing, that guy's blitzing. That guy's playing zone, this guy's playing man. I imagine Miami will run a similar style of defense to what Seattle and Baltimore have in the past. That defense sort of needs a jack of all trades. If that's a linebacker, if that's a safety, if that's a nickel, it needs one of those kind of players. Whilst Miami might have that in some guy already roster, Cooper DeJean could absolutely be that. And like I say, perfect for the system. He can play zone, he can play man, he can line up everywhere on the defense except for free safety. He doesn't really play there. So I don't really understand that he can play free. He's not. He's a strong safety, nickel, corner outside. So yeah, to answer your question, I can see Miami absolutely liking him. I'm not sure if that's a popular pick with Miami fans, but maybe pre-warn yourself that this might be the guy they're already keying in on.
What about you, Kadeem? Would you do that pick?
Yeah,
you're the GM. You're the GM. You do it?
Yeah, I would. Best player available, given what he can do. obviously the Dolphins in their secondary have, friend of the podcast, Jevon Holland. They just picked up Jordan Poyer, but again, we spoke about, Jalen Ramsey is a DB. He said himself, he's not a cornerback, he's a DB. And just that ability to add someone else in the backfield and say, hey, no matter what team you go up against, we're going to match you from man, zone. It doesn't matter. And then you use your second round pick on an offensive, interior lineman, a Zach Frazier, stuff like that. So, and plus, again, if the Dolphins do go Cooper DeJean in the first round and then hand to $50 million a year, Dolphins Twitter is going to go into absolute meltdown, and I'll be here for it. I am an agent. I am an agent of chaos. I will literally sit there and laugh. It would be brilliant.
So I'm gonna go ahead and be the voice of reason. Although I was wrong like 5 minutes ago, I'm gonna bring us back to reality. Dolphins are not taking a corner in this draft in the first round. It's not happening, bro. For all the reasons you just said. Like, we got Poyer at safety. We got friend of the podcast, Jevon Holland at safety. We got Kendall Fuller. We got Jalen Ramsey, Kader Kohou. And to use a first-round asset when you just drafted 20K Cam in the second round of last year's draft. So now you have the backup cornerback that you already desired. So you're going to take a first-round pick this year and have him sit behind all the players I just named, except 20K Cam, potentially. That would be malpractice. Like, you can't do that.
But then wouldn't people have said the same thing for drafting 20K Cam last year when you had Xavier Howard?
No, because I was of the belief that Xavier Howard's not that dude. I've been
for a
while.
Of course, but I'm saying, like, you was like, hey, I draft a corner because Xavier Howard isn't that dude.
Yeah.
But especially, like, even if you don't believe Xavier Howard isn't that dude, this Dolphins front office have taken corners in the first round, even when they've got two solid corners sitting right there. So
who was the backup corner last year before we took 20K Cam?
I guess you're looking at Kader Kohou.
No, Kader Kohou's a starter. He's a nickel corner. He's a starter.
Oh,
but that's my point. My point is we didn't have depth at corner, and the year before that we had to go through like 9 corners. So that's why we added 20K Cam, because we didn't have depth. Now we have the depth at DB. So to just keep tripling and quadrupling down on DB, yeah, you can never have enough of them. But a first round asset, bro, we gotta take, bro. I would go D-line. As much as I don't want to go D-line in the first round. I would go D-line before I go corner. Like, we can't do that no more. We can't. We have 20K Cam. We got to believe in them. We got to trust the process. But nah, I'm not in on Coop coming to the Dolphins.
My only thing on Charlie, your process is absolutely, I agree. My only thing on that is your GM has just said that they're going best player available. He might be best player. Like, if you've only got 16 first round grades, which Miami say they have, which is about normal to be fair. If they say they're going best player available and he's the highest player aboard, they might just do it. It might not be the right pick for the roster.
Saying, but how much of it is smoke? How much of it is draft smoke saying, listen, we want people to believe we're doing something so people could jump up in front of us and take whoever they want to take, and our players still be there. For example, everyone and their moms and their aunts and their grandmothers, and on Mother's Day and baby mamas, everybody thought the Dolphins were going to take the running back that the Broncos traded up. Who was that running back? Javonte Williams. Everyone thought the Dolphins were going to take Javonte Williams, and the Broncos traded up in front of us. And the pick for Jevon Holland, friend of the podcast, came in seconds after that. And all the GMs hit up Chris Grier, was like, yo, this is a solid pick. You killed that pick. You just sniped him from us. Almost like what we do on fantasy football. Like, dang, I wanted him. You know what I'm saying? So imagine the GMs hitting up each other. So, yeah, I'm going to put out the smoke. Yeah, I'm going best player available. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, you got to get it out there, because I think Brian Flores wanted Love. Chris Grier wanted Herbert, and Dan Marino wanted Tua. So and you heard all of that before the draft, but that's hindsight. It came out later that people wanted different quarterbacks. So you never know.
I think Chris Grier saying best player available probably means best offensive lineman available, if we're being brutally honest. And there's probably someone underneath that going, or best like edge rusher. Like I still believe the Dolphins are going in the trenches with their first round pick.
I'm okay with that.
But also I can just if going back to what Charlie Wilson was saying about what Will McDonald and Anthony Weaver, have seen and done in Baltimore, and you essentially get your Tyreek Hill of the defense at pick 21, who you don't think is going to be there. I'm just saying it wouldn't completely shock me if the Dolphins went, listen, we're pulling the trigger and we will work out what to do with all of these DBs. Because again, you can, for how good Jordan Poyer is, he's still like 31, and doesn't mean he has to start given how much money we've given him. So there's no reason why you can't push out a safety, Cooper DeJean and Fender Podcast Jevon Holland, and then your corners are Jalen Ramsey, 20K Cam, and Kader Kohou in the slot. Like
Kendall
there
Fuller.
you go.
Kendall Fuller.
Sorry, Kendall Fuller. So yeah. But again, it's options, it's depth, it's being able to do whatever you want to do. But again, I can totally understand your reasoning that DB probably the last position. But I've seen enough mocks and draft rumors right now. And again, it's people putting out smoke, but it's like, Dolphins going DB. Like, don't
Listen,
get twisted.
For everyone who doesn't know how 20K Cam got his name on this podcast, it's because he was plus 1,000 or plus 4,000 for the Dolphins to take a DB last year in the draft. And I was supposed to put $500 on it, and I didn't do it. And I lost out on $20,000 because I didn't do it. So if I seen Dolphins take a DB on DraftKings this year and it was plus 10,000, I will not take it, bro. I'm not taking it this year. Like, that's how I know, that's how confident I am in the Dolphins going somewhere else other than DB. We're not taking the DB this year at all.
That's
I
fine.
don't want to say at all. Not in the first round.
I'm reaching out to Parlay J and saying, hey, put 100 down on Cooper DeJean or DB, and when that money comes in, the opening credits aren't going to be isn't going to be go time. It's going to be money. I am going to love it.
Can I say quickly as well, Kadeem? I know, we sort of mentioned DeJean in the same conversation as Kyle Hamilton. He's not that player. Like Kyle Hamilton, who I said 2 years ago on the draft show, I think is the best player of the draft. And to be honest, I probably was right. DeJean is not that caliber of player. He's really, really good, and he can do some of the things which Hamilton can do from the slot, from the outside corner. But yeah, he's not as good as Kyle Hamilton. It doesn't really compare to him.
Fair play.
I really want to say what y'all boys be saying in the UK. We move on. Why y'all say that? We move on.
because we're moving on. Like, there's nothing more to add. Like, what do you want me to say?
That's funny, bro. We move on.
Nah, there's so much. We could sit here for hours talking about what UK and US people speak alone. Any other positions you want to get to, Charlie? Touche.
Oh, see, you know what I'm saying? We got to differentiate the Charlie, bro. It's double the Charlie, double the football, double the coolness. You know what I'm saying? Like, we in ice cold. Shout out to 103K. Let's go before we get into bonus time. Look at how many receivers are on this list. Like, if you're watching on YouTube, you see about 4 first-round quarterbacks, according to our friend Charlie Wilson. You have 3 second-round graded quarterbacks, no third-round graded quarterbacks, 1 fourth-round grade quarterback. Then you have running backs with no first-round or second-round grade. You have tight end with 1 first-round grade, 2 with 2 second-round grades, 3 with 3 third-round grades. You have tackle with 5 tackles with first-round grades, 5 tackles with second-round grades, 4 with third-round grades. It's very, like, this is well done, by the way. But when you look at receiver, bro, you have basically every round like is full to the capacity in the receiver category. And everyone has said this is the draft for offensive tackle and wide receiver. If I wanted to wait, if I was a team that was pretty good at receiver, didn't need a first round pick, at receiver and maybe took one late in the second, or even waited to the third to grab a receiver who probably has second round talent. Who is that receiver on your big board that has you could probably grab him in the third round, but probably has second round talent, and he just got bumped back because it's such a deep draft?
So many, Charlie. I mean, like you say, there's a lot of receivers on my board. I've watched a lot of tape this year. I basically had no life for the last 2 months, but I've enjoyed it. To answer your question, there's so many. Everyone in that category, everyone who's watching on YouTube, there's everyone I would feel pretty good taking in the late second. I guess Ricky Pearsall, since he's at the top, he's such an athlete. Go watch his catch for flop. Just type in Ricky Pearsall catch. It will come up. It's one of the best catches you'll ever see. And this guy is an athletic freak. He can play anywhere from the slot outside. Both the Washington guys, Jalen Polk and Jalen McMillan, were huge, fantastic players. Nearly won the national championship for Washington. My favorite guy, who no one's talking about, is Marcus Rosemy-Jacksain. Most people have a 7th round grade on him. I've got him in the 3rd. He reminds me of George Pickens. People might think that's a lazy comparison because they both went to Georgia and were sort of underused. But if you watch this guy's catch at the Senior Bowl, he just goes up and gets it. He's, like I said, jumps out of the building, fast, tall. So Jamari Thrash is the opposite of that. He's slow, very, very nippy, very nimble. So there's so many guys. Tez Walker there, played with Drake May. Struggled with catches. If he basically didn't drop the ball 17 times at the Senior Bowl, he had a great season. He could be a 1st round pick. Like, it's such a deep class at receiver. And to be honest, you mentioned tackle as well, Charlie. They're the 2 positions where this class is really deep. The rest of the draft, I do not feel that way about any of the positions, really. Tight end a little bit. But wide receiver, and especially wide receiver, I think you can wait until the 3rd, 4th round and select any of those guys and feel pretty confident.
You said he's a 7th round. He has a 7th round grade, but you graded him a 3rd round in the 3rd round?
Marcus Rosemy-Jacksain. Yeah, he played at the Senior Bowl and caught the first touchdown of the game. And that sort of like got him on people's boards. But when I look at PFF and PFN, they've got a 5th, 6th, 7th round grade on him. I just don't understand that. When you've got a guy who's 6'3", can run past DBs, can jump over him, good hands. It's just he was underused at Georgia. If you look at his stats, they're nothing special. But then again, Land McConkey, who was going to go in the 1st round at Georgia, had pretty similar stats. I think Rosemy-Jacksain is one player who will be drafted on day 3 who will make a difference in his rookie season.
We got receipts, and I cannot wait until Charlie Wilson smacks on this pick, and then we could bring this back up and be like, yo, Charlie Wilson said that on Go Time Dolphins.
So then, if it's a deep draft, deep wide receiver class, and the Dolphins go deep, the defensive line, the first 2 rounds, regardless of, the thing, pick up a 4th round, 5th round pick, who's someone you would take, late day 2, early day 3 to complement these wide receivers the Dolphins already have? So it's essentially, is there like a big body guy the Dolphins can take that can make an impact? Not so much from day 1, but can contribute in his rookie season.
I mean, yeah, the guy I just mentioned, Rosemy-Jacksain, is a bigger bodied guy. He's the type of, he's like a, who was the receiver who went to the Patriots from you guys who you didn't like?
Devontae
Parker.
Devontae Parker. He reminds me of a bit like him.
Not that's probably not the best comparison you want to throw around on Go Time Dolphins. I'm just saying.
I understand. He can be an annoying player, and we found out that all the teams feel the same way. But he's, like I say, Kadeem, he's a bigger bodied receiver who can jump out of the building and complements Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle well. He can be a guy. If you want to throw those go balls, those fade, but the fade route, by the way, that needs to be like, that's the worst play in football. The team needs to stop doing that. But if you want to throw a fade route,
Rosemy-Jacksain, Tua threw that fade route in the Chargers game that went past the defender's helmet like this, and Tyreek Hill came down with it. It was probably one of the best passes in the season, and then they just kept going back to it, trying to replicate that play again, and it just was not effective.
It's the lowest percentage red zone play in the league, and teams.
But what it does is it's a 50-50, meaning if our guy don't get it, they're not going to come down. It's safe. It's a very safe. You know what? This is going to guarantee us another shot. So I understand it, but I don't want to throw it to 5'9" receivers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So many options for the Dolphins to go in the draft. Charlie, anything to add before we head into bonus time?
Hey, Charlie, bro, tell everybody where they can find you.
Yeah, thank you. So it's Charlie Reach PLC on Twitter. I'm currently I've done a draft guide. It's 11,000 words, and we're rolling that out day by day right now. We are on the tackles tomorrow, a very deep class. 4 stories already out on there. You can find that on my Twitter and Daily Mirror for all my stories.
Cool.
Hey, one day me and Charlie are gonna have an MMA podcast, and we're gonna bounce off of each other like, bro. I cannot wait for it. Not gonna say why it hasn't happened yet, but one day it's gonna happen.
It has
come on over to bonus time. Y'all know what time it is. Stay positive, test negative. For Charlie Wilson, Kadeem Simmons, I'm Charlie Touche. Thank you for tuning in this time. Make sure you catch us next time on Go Time. Already.
Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's show time. Going all out when it's go time. I ain't wasting no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's show time. Cause it's your time. Lay it on the line when it's go time. Don't waste no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's show time. Going all out when it's go time. I ain't wasting no time.
So I mentioned on the start of the show how to, or I'll be giving away a Miami Dolphins draft day hat. I think the hat I'm wearing right now is the best hat the Dolphins have had in years. Like even my non-football friends think this hat is amazing. So the way to enter the draft giveaway is really, really simple. On every episode between now and the end of the draft, all you've got to do is comment saying draft. If you're subscribed on YouTube, comment saying draft. And if you're listening on Spotify, Apple Music, all that kind of good stuff, leave a 5-star rating and say draft. And if you can help me out even better by emailing that to me, that would be greatly appreciated. But comment below saying draft, and you will be
what's the email? What's the email, Kadeem?
This is why we're here. The email is gotimedolphins@gmail.com. So yeah, if you could do that, that'd be greatly appreciated. Once again, just comment on the YouTube comment section saying draft on every video between now and the end of the 2024 NFL draft.
Our patrons already automatically entered
to make things so much easier. I'm not gonna go nowhere, but I'm gonna sit back and let you two talk about UFC 300 because I have nothing to add. So,
bro,
Charlie Wilson. Oh, look, I'm done.
Kadeem, can I just ask you, have you seen the clip of Max Holloway knocking down Justin Gaethje?
Is that the one where he's like, "Yo, stand in the middle of this cage and we're just gonna swing it out"?
So my question to you is how do you watch that and not be like, that is just I want to see more?
Yeah, that's a good question.
I've made it well known that when I was at uni 15 years ago, I stayed up to watch UFC. So Forrest Griffin, Lyoto Machida, all those guys. I watched it and I loved it. I just got to a point where I sleep a lot more, and it's the same way. I don't really stay up to watch a boxing. I'm not staying up till 3 a.m. to essentially watch two guys roll around, hug it out, and then go to a time limit. I'm not doing that. If you could guarantee draws every single time, guarantee knockouts, I'd watch it. But listen, yo, Shaq, you still there? Yeah. So my brother-in-law, Shaq, yo, come here quickly if you don't mind. Apologies. Huh?
Shout out to Shaq, by the way. Shaq is the one who produced our only in-person podcast episode between me and Kadeem. Shout out to Shaq. We appreciate Shaq coming on. He can't hear me right now, but we appreciate Shaq.
Do you know what? I'm going to back out. They're about to talk about UFC 300 if you want to join them.
Yeah, can do.
Yo, guys, I will see you in a sec.
Yo,
Hey, Shaq, you a UFC fan?
bro, I'm an all sports fan. You should know this.
Bro. So I just introduced you. I know you didn't have the headphones on, so you probably didn't hear it. But I was telling everybody how Shaq produced the only in-person podcast episode from Go Time Dolphins. How me and Kadeem was in person. Shaq produced it, bro. I had no idea that you was a UFC fan.
Yeah, man, I'm a UFC. I love it. Stayed up until 6:25. It was in the UK just to watch UFC 300.
So for anybody who was like, you know what, Max won this fight. Let me get up out of here early. It's you know what I'm saying. Like it's 4-1. It's Justin Gaethje. You know what I'm saying. Max, this is going to decision. What this is like the Miami Dolphins miracle in Miami. Like yo, this game is not over, bro. And then knock out Justin Gaethje to call Justin Gaethje to the middle of the octagon. Like yo, I know you're the knockout person, but I'm coming. This is me right now. Stand in the middle of the octagon. What was your first thought, and what was your reaction to it?
So my thing is, right, I'm renowned as I was a bit reserved on Max Holloway for the last like 2 years because I thought like it's getting to that. I was gonna put it as like a Tony Ferguson time. I don't want you to start taking L's and ruin your career. I don't want you to. I don't want you to. You know what I'm saying? So for the sake of Max, I wanted him to like, start bowing out, but he showed that he's just a bad man. And then for me, the significant part of the fight, first of all, you broke his nose in the first round and you kept connecting. There was no tie game. It was always going to go to Max on decision anyway. Like he dominated the fight. Big credit to Justin Gaethje because you've had a broken nose from round one and you said, I'm going to keep going.
Eye pokes, broken nose. Like he could have found a way out.
He could have found a way out. Crazy as well. But he said, no, I mean, I'll make a statement in a second, actually. But then my main thing for the fight is also, let's not forget that Max Holloway's legs were shot. Justin Gaethje hit, I think it was in like the 45th second, a disgusting leg kick, which he's known for. His leg kicks are some of the best in UFC history. Yeah. I say it's like up there with Barbosa and the likes of that. So then Gaethje hit a dirty leg kick and his legs were shot, but Max kept walking him down. And then with it was the spinning back, like a little spinning back kick that he could do when he ducked his head, right? Yeah, with that, it was a crazy fight. I used to hate this BMF title. I thought it was awful. I thought it was a terrible addition to the entirety of the UFC. But with people like Max Holloway and Justin Gaethje having the title, I think there's some real BMFs that like cool. Bro. Started off with like Masvidal and that.
So Justin Gaethje before the fight, someone asked him in an interview, "Hey, what are your plans after the BMF fight? You know what I'm saying? Like, where do you go from here?" Justin Gaethje, then BMF title holder, said, "I don't know. I don't plan to be alive after the fight." You know what I'm saying? Like I go in there thinking, yo, this could be it. So I'm gonna give it all for that fight that day, and that's it. And then I'm got my 4th stripe in jiu-jitsu. You feel me? My jiu-jitsu instructor, appreciate it. Jiu-jitsu instructor was like, bro, a BMF, that's exactly what a BMF would say. You know what I'm saying? So to see Gaethje oblige to the like, nah, let's do this. You know what I'm saying? And then Max, on the other hand, to say Justin would have gave me that opportunity. If Justin was up 4 rounds and said, let's do it in the center of the ring, bro, that's some 2 BMF type stuff, bro. But you didn't tell me your reaction. You didn't tell me your reaction, Shaq. Before we get to Charlie, you didn't tell me what was your reaction when you seen like, ain't no way this just happened.
Obviously, it's like at that time it was about 5:30 in the morning in the UK, and we just got home from Cyprus, so like we was a bit tired. I couldn't scream down the house.
Hold on. Cyprus, Kadeem's wedding that we didn't make. Yeah. We really wanted to make it. Shaq was at Kadeem's wedding. Shout out to Hannah Montana and Kadeem jumping the broom once again. Go ahead, Shaq.
Of course. So like, when you're late night watching sports and you're
you gotta keep it in.
Screaming under my breath, and then it's been a while since I've stood up from the results of a UFC fight, but the last second you flatten him out, and when a person falls forward, there's no need to count, bro. That's one thing in fighting. If he falls forward, just you've got the win. I had to stand up and give him a round of applause. It was honestly one of the craziest endings you'll see in a UFC card, I think, bar like some stupid things you've seen, but like it was a real BMF ending. I had to literally stand up and scream for like about 2 minutes.
Charlie, what was your reaction, bro? Like you watching the fight, a lot of people had Max counted out. Like this is, I ain't go. All right, I ain't gonna lie, Shaq. That was a bit disrespectful talking about Tony Ferguson. Like compared,
No,
like, nah.
you
Hey, oh no. We let you talk. Hold on. We come back to you. That was a bit disrespectful, bro. Like I ain't gonna lie. Tony Ferguson, Max.
Anderson Silva.
Hold on. All right, say that. That's I could take that. But Tony Ferguson, bro, like,
Sorry,
bro, like Max. There was only Max in that division, and then Volk came, and then I told my instructor, I'm like, bro, there's Volk. Then there's Max, then there's everybody else. This is before this fight just happened. And the UFC had to pivot. Like, yo, we can't keep giving our contenders Max Holloway because they're not making it to Volk. So everybody that tried to go through Max to get to the championship lost. So they kept giving Max the fight. And then the only person who didn't go through Max to get the Volk was who? We all know. Ilia Topuria.
Yep.
So he didn't go through Max. He gets to the championship, wins the championship.
Yeah.
So for you to say Tony Ferguson, I'm gonna let you live on it. Like, yo, Max is still that. Hold on. So you know what I'm saying? Like, Max is still the dude, but Volk just has his number. Charlie, bro, we got to get your reaction. What was your reaction to the last 10 seconds when? All right, and again, I did not think Max was gonna win. Max is my dog. Like, I hoped he would win. And Charlie knows this. Shaq, you don't know this too much, but I bet big bread on UFC often. I didn't bet on UFC 300 at all, not even a little bit. But I bet big bread on UFC all the time. Max is my dog. You know what I'm saying? I did not think he was going to win. I would not bet on that fight. So for people to have Max counted out, which is understandable to have him counted out, and then see that performance, Charlie, bro, what was your reaction to that last 10 seconds?
Max is stepping up a weight division. Like I gave him very little chance. And it's like Shaq said, those leg kicks, even though Max was winning the fight, like I thought at some point he just can't walk at some point. Like those leg kicks were messing him up. And then to keep coming, he just kept coming all night long. And then at the end, when both men were spent, Max Holloway had that fight won. He can just, last 10 seconds, he can just celebrate out like, yeah, look at me. No, he calls him like, let's do this. And Gaethje, you can see, is so tired. He's like, well, yeah, let's do it. Like, they're both warriors. And when that last punch landed, like I say, I'm like Shaq, 5:30 in the morning. Oh, it's just, that's one of those moments you just, as a sports fan, you just savor. And it was an honor to watch, man. It was so impressive. And Max Holloway, what more can you say? Like, it's disappointing that he's lost 3 times to Volk, and that somewhat sours his legacy. But like Shaq said, like that BMF belt is made for Max Holloway.
Bless Max forever, BMF. Listen, Go Time Dolphins. We just got a little bit of Go Time MMA, maybe, you know what I'm saying, on Go Time Dolphins. And for those who don't understand the significance of what happened in UFC 300, it's basically something like the Miracle in Miami. Last second, this is not supposed to happen. Well, it's not similar, but it's like, because the Dolphins were losing. This guy was winning the whole fight and then risked it all still, but he was not supposed to win the fight. So I'll be honest with you, as a football fan, like not the average football fan. Like if you got a football podcast, you're probably not the average fan. You know what I'm saying? Like I probably spend too much time podcasting and into sports, if I'm being honest with you. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, the significance of this knockout in the UFC was somewhere in the top 15 all-time sports moments. Like, in my opinion, like there's no way no one thought, if this was a movie, all 3 of us would be like, nah, bro, that would never happen. Shaq, boy, look like you disagree.
If you say like top 5 UFC moments, I'll give you that. Sports moments,
I said top 15 though. Sports moments.
Yeah, there's a lot of sporting moments, man.
All right, give me a couple. Give me a top 15 sports moment where you don't think this moment was in that conversation.
LeBron James block Andre Iguodala.
No. Look, listen.
Kyrie Irving shot.
Kyrie Irving shot is not better than this.
Ray Allen shot against
Ray Allen. Game 6. Hold on. Game 6.
That was a travel. He traveled on that.
Hey, chill out, bro. Hey, that was not a travel. That was not a travel, bro. Bro, listen, I'm gonna get that Ray Allen game 6 shot like blown up, and I'm gonna just put it, I don't know, somewhere in my man cave. bro. That game 6 shot, that was like top 8 all time.
Nah, there's a lot of moments.
That's not this. Hold up, Kyrie's not top. Kyrie shot is not top 15 though, bro.
I really
Kyrie
could
shot
be.
not top 15.
No,
No.
there was not even in for 2.5 minutes.
Charlie Wilson, you think the Kyrie Irving shot in the Cavs finals is top 15 all time sports moment?
It's definitely up.
What?
It was on Charlie. It was on Klay Thompson, who is an incredible on-ball defender.
No, it was on Steph. It was on Steph. He called it.
Oh, sorry, he switched onto Steph. You're right. You're right.
Bro, Derek Fisher's shot with 0.2 seconds was bigger than that.
It's up there. It's up there. It's up there.
The push-off, the Michael Jordan push-off was bigger than the Kyrie. That's not top 15.
Yeah, it's up there. Trust me.
Can I just say that LeBron James block on Iguodala was probably goaltending?
No, didn't hit the backboard first.
It was very close.
Balls going up, didn't hit the backboard first. The rules. Sorry.
All right, I ain't gonna lie. Maybe it's top 20. Top 25.
You can even say I forgot who done the interception. I forgot who done the interception, but it's
Malcolm Butler.
Seahawks.
Malcolm
No.
Malcolm Butler.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie. That's a moment. Sorry, Charlie Wilson. Sorry, Charlie Wilson, but that's a moment right there, bro.
Just saying.
All right. So where you got Malcolm Butler and the Kyrie Irving? Which one's higher?
Malcolm Butler.
Yeah. All right. I had to make sure your bearings were right.
I gotta be real with that one. And that was a heartbreaker moment for me because I'm a Marshawn Lynch fan. It
was heartbreaking for all of us because I'm a Dolphin fan. I hate the Patriots. He's a Seahawks fan. Charlie is a Seahawks fan. He thought he was already celebrating. You feel me?
I was watching that game with Patriots fans as well. It was not fun.
I ain't gonna lie, Charlie. I would have shed grown man real tears. I would have been. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro.
Charlie, it was like 6 a.m. in the morning and I walked home like 4 miles, just like listening to like sad music. I'm not even joking. It was tough.
Hey, you probably needed it. Like you needed that time. I get it, bro. Hey, it's Go Time Dolphins, man. We appreciate everybody who talked it up with us. Charlie Wilson, Kadeem stepped away to give us this opportunity to go a little Go Time MMA. Charlie Wilson, Shaq, we appreciate y'all boys. Y'all already know.
Anytime.